There is a lot to talk about in this episode because I saw two movies in 24 hours and a teaser drop that has genuinely piqued my curiosity. So let's first speak about Mahakali, directed by Pooja Kulluru. A lot of people are confused, assuming that Prashanth Varma has directed this film, but he is mainly credited as a writer and co-producer. The second film of his PVCU post the success of Hanuman. A lot of people are torn about how they feel about Prashanth as a creator, especially regarding his stance on AI integration in film, which I will come to later. But let's talk about the teaser first. Even though I want to forget about Ikka and Akshaye Khanna slightly hamming his way through the Netflix film, he has genuinely been on a generational run since the past few years. I absolutely love the dialogue delivery of him in the teaser, especially in Hindi as Shukra Acharya, having the weight and gravitas required for the morally grey and complex character. If you read about Shukra Acharya, it's fascinating to note on how you can't compartmentalize him as good or bad. An individual who since a young age had an appetite to be the most learned, imbibing knowledge from Maharishi Angiras. His first form of conflict rose from the fact that his guru was giving preferential treatment to his own son and student Brihaspati. When Shukra Acharya was not satisfied with his guru's answers of considering all of his students to be equals, he joined Rishi Gautam. The morally grey feature of Shukra Acharya that I referenced a few seconds ago stems from his experiences with Indradev, often told that वो देवलोक के गुरु बनने के लायक नहीं है. Some writings also reference that he was shamed by Indradev for having a mother who was a Rakshas. When Shukracharya dedicated thousands of years to Lord Shiv, his intention was to get the Mrit Sanjeevani ka Vardhan, basically the ability to revive the dead. When Shivji was content with the years he spent in learning such a craft, he was told to swear that he will not use this power against the Devs, only for the words of Indradev to echo in his ear, manifesting into using the powers to revive fallen demons, making him the guru of the Asurs. This, I believe, is the stage in which we will be introduced to the story, where Shukracharya is at his most powerful and unhinged, reviving Raktabij so that he can cause havoc in the Devlok, only to be met by goddess Kali, leading to a brutal battle in this cosmic world. I hope his origin story is an integral part of this narrative rather than it just coasting through like a montage of AI prompts that have become normalized in films today. I love that Sriya Reddy has been cast as goddess Kali. I think she has such a fiery presence in front of camera. I remember absolutely getting chills even from her role in Timudu back in the day, and she was equally impressive in a series like Sural and the movie Salar. There are two aspects from the trailer that did stick out to me as demerits. The film does have an aesthetic of mostly being shot around sound stages. You can clearly tell the physical structures that have been created, but the environment has been digitally developed. This makes for some of the shots to look extremely curated. Secondly, I think a big point of contention has been the sari that goddess Kali is wearing. The goddess is usually presented with a garland of skulls and severed arms that cover her waist and part of her legs, and I believe it would have been ideal to present the goddess in the same manner. However, I believe the reason why the makers are straying away from the same is because they still want this movie to be U-rated for theaters. A brutal battle between Raktabij and goddess Kali can easily have the aesthetic of being absolutely bloody and gory that will strip the franchise away from the PG-rated storytelling it wants to develop since Hanuman. I guess that would be the only defense I would deem fit for such an aesthetic choice. Despite these minor stumbling blocks, I'm still so intrigued by how the makers will present this battle and story. I, however, want to speak about something that has become so normalized on social media regarding the visual aesthetic of films. So let's talk about that. Prashanth Varma is a creator who has not shied away from openly saying in interviews that he does consider and integrate AI in not only the visuals of his storytelling, but also his process of writing. He spoke about how dispersing a screenplay with certain high points, almost like a science, is a must, and how when one reaches a roadblock, AI tools have helped him decipher several directions in which the film can go. I think in India and the entertainment industry, we have normalized the integration of AI prompts for convenience so much in films and shows that we started it with simply enhancing the visuals we see on camera, but now the goalpost keeps on shifting as the lines blur with us even having the ability to decipher what has been man-made and what was simply a prompt. You should see the difference in outrage between the Indian audience and those in the West when it comes to the integration of AI in film. We in India are only concerned about the visuals looking good, but there is an entire moral, societal and environmental argument being made in the West of the slippery slope it is being normalized recognized as an industry standard. While evolution and adaptability seems to be working at such a fast rate, I just want to clear one thing out. Social media right now has a field day each time a 5 to 10 second prompt gets posted online. The immediate response to the video is that look what I generated by a mere prompt. This one clip posted by Stoned Ape with Lord Shiv and Nandi garnered over 100 million views on Instagram. So much so that the user has been posting several edits of Hindu gods since. But users are urging the team of Ramayan to employ him in the digital team based on these AI prompts, as if the user has hand-drawn the illustrations, digitally rendered them and produced this epic image. Not realizing, with all due respect to the user, you do you brother, that there is nothing artistic about it. So please understand that if your stance is that a trailer looks AI generated as a diss, you are also posting AI clips as references of how the movie can look aesthetically better. I have seen social media users literally take screenshots of the trailer of movies, posting them on Cdance or Kling AI, and literally enhance the clips and post it for clout on what an amazing job they have done to enhance the trailer. There is nothing artistic about prompts in an AI model. Imagine you land up at an art gallery and distinctly are told about two paintings, one that is man-made and one that is a prompt from an AI editing engine. What would you give more value to when you hang it in your living room? I am not an expert in VFX work, but I am sometimes baffled on how accessibility to AI tools has made everyone assume that they have artistic merit in telling VFX artists that they are doing a better job than them. It's just not the same. Irrespective of the moral implications of AI, CGI and VFX, Mahakali has me deeply interested. I think the teaser packed the punch and I'm going to be genuinely hyped for it when it drops in theaters. Moving on to a movie and a comeback that genuinely made my heart happy, I want to talk about Irumudi starring Ravi Teja. I have to be honest with you, but since the pandemic, probably barring Walter Veria, I have been the biggest critic of Ravi Teja's filmography, filled with regressive tropes, absolutely awkward musical numbers, and romantic dynamics that will make any sane person uncomfortable. This would break many people's hearts because Ravi Teja has an infectious energy in front of camera, but his choices were absolutely woeful in the last few years. So when Telugu subscribers were telling me that he has absolutely killed it in this new movie and is surprisingly playing a mature role, I was genuinely curious, and oh boy was it special. A lot of people who trolled me for dragging Ravi Teja's choices used to tell me, it's not for you North Indians, we like seeing Ravi Teja in these type of roles. Do you see what a difference it makes when one does an age-appropriate role devoid of the problematic features of romance? Everyone just embraces it. Ravi plays the role of Trinath, who with his wife and daughter lives a peaceful and happy life. Ravi is an Ayappa Bhakt, drives a pickup truck and suffers from alcoholism. A man who sees his daughter in every girl in the village. Trinath goes out of his way to protect them. When local ruffians cause havoc in the lives of the young women in the village, the chaos that formulates causes deep personal trauma to Trinath. This forms the basic storyline of Irumudi. Ravi Teja delivers such an emotionally impactful performance over here that goes beyond the confines of the expected beats one is used to seeing in commercial Telugu cinema. He has the tenderness of a father, the cheekiness of a man still obsessed with his wife, but also having a no-nonsense approach to thugs causing trouble in the village. It never becomes over the top. It is restrained and so effective. His chemistry with his daughter in the film, played by baby Nakshatra, is infectious. You see a man who will burn the world for this little human. Someone who just melts when she has a request. Saying no could never be an option. The children going to government school deal with problems of goons that harass them, and this transitions to several action set pieces in the film that do become repetitive. The film shoots these sequences in primarily dimly lit rooms, and while Ravi himself is agile and nimble, the action per se does not provide anything new or unique. Sequences in his auto genuinely reminded me of a bootleg version of what we have already seen in Bhola and Leo. The other issue that I had with the film also was this incessant need to explain what is happening on screen. The antagonist almost makes you run through a crash course of his misdeeds from start to finish. It is explained in such fine detail without any pressure on him that you wonder why villains in commercial cinema feel the need to announce their devious plans in chronological order. However, I really have to commend the writer and director Shiv Nirvan, because in the second half there are instances that totally caught me off guard. The film categorically takes you on a path, makes you you assume the outcome but completely flips the script on you, making you genuinely tip your hat off to the writing department in making your jaw drop at the twist. The climax of the film had me teary-eyed, and it has a lot to do with the ample time the director categorically spends in emotionally investing us into the lives of not only Trinath and Mani, but the inhabitants of the village too. Irumudi is a case of efficient and smart storytelling that delivers the expected beats of commercial cinema with its set pieces and conflict, but enhances it for it to be genuinely memorable by providing you impactful surprises in the screenplay, and most importantly, presents Ravi Teja in a role that will make him realize that the audience wants to see him play his age, and if he does, he will be embraced and celebrated, for it is such a breath of fresh air compared to the commercial slop he has been doing for years. My heart was so happy in seeing that this Telugu film is also getting a patronage from the audience. Lastly, I have to tell you about possibly the widest smile I've had in theaters this year. It was because I was in a packed theater watching Bethlehem Kudumba unit starring Nivin, Pauly and Mamitha Baiju, and oh boy was this Girish Eri directorial special. The director of Premalu, I have to already apologize to you in advance for Prem Kitanu, but you have outdone yourself, sir, with this film. There needs to be something studied about the contrast between Fahad Fasil, the actor, and the choices he makes as a producer, because as a producer, this man is really hitting it out of the park. The film focuses on Justin, played by Nivin, who is in his mid-30s, and Ashley, played by Mamitha Baiju, who has just joined college. She moves in with her family into this new locality where she slowly gets accustomed to the various characters, growing fond of Justin in the process, generating gossip and trouble due to the large age gap between both the characters. My introduction to Nivin was in films like Premam, Bangalore Days and Jekapinde Swargarajam, a phase in which Nivin was on a crazy streak and popularity. Since 2019, many Malayalam cinema viewers were disheartened on just the choices he was making as an actor. Even though I believe his performance in the Geetu Mohandas film Muthon is heavily slept on, Nivin was not getting the commercial love he was once used to. Since Sarvam Maya, however, I think the tide has shifted, and just to see Nivin in his element in this film and Mamitha being so natural compared to the commercial slop that was Jananayagan, it was almost like getting a detox from not only their previous performances but the dark and predictable beats of movies across languages. How often can you literally have a good laugh in theaters that's not representative of lazy cinema but an extension of observations of interpersonal relationships enhanced even further with adept filmmaking? You know, we hear this so often with comedy movies ki dimag na ghar pe chhod ke rakhna, and I love that it does not apply for a movie like BKU. It is tender, sweet, smart and just so funny. I think one of the main reasons why I fell in love with this movie was because the unit, the locality, the neighborhood seemed like a lived-in environment. People with varied personalities, gossip passing by as fast as flash, and the camera through the eyes of Ajmal Sabu take the shape of a neighbor carefully observing the organized chaos in front of them. Something as simple, and I know this may alarm you, but as a car being driven in the narrow lanes of the neighborhood. So often we see actors just play acting driving a car, but here you have moments of banter, playful flirting, arguments all happen within the car, but it's authentic because Nivin is actually driving and engaging in the scene in real time. In a scene pre the interval, and something that I commend Girish so much as a director for because it's such a product of observing humans carefully, the conversation between Nivin and Mamitha transitions from resentment, anger, awkwardness to professing love, and it culminates so beautifully with the score by Vishnu Vijay kicking in at the perfect time that I was simply in awe of how a simple scene can be enhanced so much when handed over to a skillful director. The dynamic is beautifully explored, the age gap consistently being a point of contention in the way they communicate, but always somehow finding a middle ground, making you blush exactly like the sorry and pitiful single guy you are in the theater. This movie is also a great example of exemplary staging. The scenes will be structured and performed in such a way that the payoff would be either to shock you or cut the tension. Characters would be placed away from the camera only to reveal their reactions when key revelations are made. This is done with characters that are of consequence and sometimes hilariously just with extras observing the madness. I'll tell you an example without giving anything away. Nivin is fighting with his little brother played by Sangeet Pratap, who's great by the way in this film. The argument would primarily focus on their scuffle, and when the younger brother has been embarrassed and bullied, it would cut to a wide shot where farmers are working on the field, distracted by the abuse that he just experienced. It's so skillfully done, and Girish employs this throughout the film. The constant running gag of Glixen played by Roshan Shanavas and the drinking buddies of Justin, especially Suresh Krishna, pack in so many laughs at the theatre, and I personally were dying. I'm sure this is true for many female viewers of this film too, but the scene of the girls in a sleepover sharing a laugh together over alcohol, genuinely, and I know this may sound weird, but it soothed my soul just to see women being unabashedly themselves and free without judgment. It for a moment in that scene felt how blessed we would be if we just lived and let live. The comedy never ventures into being crass or vulgar. It's the situations that are hilarious, never relying on memes to be relevant with its writing. The film hilariously does a tip-off to several popular movies, but in homage to a Kannada film had absolutely everyone rolling on the floor laughing. Something aced by Shyam Mohan, who was equally hilarious in Premalu. The scene came absolutely out of nowhere, but it somehow just fit. In the second half, the action sequences do get slightly repetitive, especially the conflict involving Justin's younger brother and his love interest, and a trip to Goa that does extend the running time a little more than I would have loved. But the evolution of Justin and Ashley's relationship just invests you in this film. You just wanting for there to be a happily ever after, despite every practical fiber in your body believing that this union may be doomed for its age gap. You as a viewer also start to ask, is this just a case of being enamored by someone older who has a car, makes a living and is loved by people around them? Sometimes even siding with the people from society who deem it inappropriate. And I love that the film consistently addresses the same in a mature fashion, culminating beautifully in the climax, making me smile from ear to ear and making it one of the most entertaining experiences I have had in theatres this year. No wonder it's getting celebrated in Kerala. It deserves even more love. You just don't want to miss this one. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about these movies and especially the teaser of Mahakali. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.